Hi everyone, it's Carissa. Today we're going to look at how to make a solid granny square. So unlike a traditional granny square where you have clusters of stitches and then spaces in between, a solid granny square has each stitch stacked on top of a stitch from the row below, so you end up with a more solid fabric. So let's look at how to do that. I'm going to start with a magic ring. So I will take the tail of my yarn in my hand here, and I'm going to hold it with my thumb and my middle finger. I'm going to wrap it around my first two fingers, cross it with itself, and then come back around parallel to the first strand across the tops of my fingers. I'm going to hold on to that with my ring finger while I grab my hook. I'll insert my hook under the first strand and then grab the second strand and pull that through under the first strand again. And I'm going to give it a little twist to create a loop on my hook. Now I'm going to use my index finger here to hold on to that loop while I pull my other two fingers out of the magic ring. But I want to keep that ring nice and loose. It's basically a slip knot. We just haven't tightened the knot yet. So we'll be able to pull on this tail afterward and tighten our magic ring. So we have our first loop on the hook there. I'm going to begin my first round with a chain 3. So I'll yarn over my hook and draw through for chain 1, yarn over and draw through, chain 2, yarn over and draw through, chain 3. And that chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet in this pattern. And I'm going to take my stitch marker here and I'm going to place it in that third chain that we just made. I'm going to go under both legs of that chain with my stitch marker and lock that in place. So now I have my stitch marker on the third chain of my chain 3, and that's going to be a really easy indicator and a good way to identify the top of this chain 3 when we get back around to it at the end of this round and we want to join to end our round. So we have our chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to make 2 more double crochets into the magic ring here. So I will yarn over my hook, insert my hook into the magic ring, yarn over and drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now I've made a double crochet next to my chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. I'm going to make one more now, yarn over, insert my hook into the magic ring, yarn over my hook and drop a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So now I have 3 double crochets, although the first one is really a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. So this is going to be the foundation for one of the sides of our square, our granny square. Now we'll make a corner chain space by doing chain 2. And now we'll work another 3 double crochets into the magic ring to make the second side of our square. So yarn over, insert my hook into the magic ring, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 1 double crochet. And another one, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 2 double crochet. And a third one. We're still working into the magic ring and we're still keeping that magic ring nice and loose for right now. So now we have, there's our chain space that's going to be one of the corners of our square, and now we have 3 double crochet after that. We're going to repeat that sequence 2 more times for the other 2 sides of our square. So chain 2 for another corner and 3 double crochets for another side of our square. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So now our square has 3 sides. We're going to do it one more time. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets into the magic ring. There's 1. Keep the tail out of the way. There's 2. And there's 3. And now at this point I can grab the tail of my magic ring and just give it a gentle pull, tighten that a little. And now I'm going to brace the ring with my right hand while I pull on that tail a little bit harder to close that nice and tight. There we go. So you can see we almost have a square. We just need to connect that final corner. Now you could do a chain 2 and then slip stitch into the top of this chain 3 to join the corner, but that's going to leave our hook attached over here next to where the stitch marker is. And what we really want for this pattern is for our hook to be attached kind of in the middle of our chain space. So rather than working a chain 2 and slip stitch to join, I'm actually going to work a half double crochet to join into this, the top of this chain. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook where that stitch marker is, so you can see why we put that stitch marker in the chain, in the third chain of our chain 3. So it makes it really easy to identify where I need to put my hook. And I'm going under both legs of that chain. Yarn over, draw up a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, and to finish my half double crochet, I'm going to get my stitch marker out of the way. I'm going to yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. That finishes my half double crochet. It creates the chain space in the 4th corner of my square, and it leaves my hook attached in the middle of that chain space rather than over here next to the stitch marker. So that completes round 1. Now I can remove my stitch marker and we'll start round 2. And I like to work over the tail as I'm working round 2 so that I don't have to weave that in afterward. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. We're going to start out round 2 with a chain 3, and again this chain 3 counts as a double crochet. And again we're going to use our stitch marker to mark the top of that chain 3 by going under both legs of it like that, and then locking our stitch marker in place. So now we have a chain 3 to begin round 2, but that counts as a double crochet, and we're going to work another double crochet into this chain space. So we'll yarn over my hook, insert into that chain space, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I have a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet plus a real double crochet into that first corner space right now. Now I'm going to work a double crochet into each of the stitches across this side of the square. So I have 3 double crochets, although the first one is technically a chain 3. So I'm going to work a double crochet in the top of each of those stitches. And like I said, I'm going to work around my tail at the same time. So the way I do that, I start out working my double crochet, yarn over my hook, insert into the top of that first stitch, which is actually our initial chain 3. So I'm going to go into, it's actually the same place where we worked that half double crochet. Insert my hook there. And I want to make sure that my tail is going over my hook as I work. And it's going to act sort of like a third leg of that stitch that I've gone into. Now I'm going to take my working yarn, yarn over, and draw that through under the tail and through that stitch. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to finish my double crochet by working a yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, and now I've worked that first double crochet around my tail, so it's enclosed there, it's trapped. I'm going to continue working like that for the rest of this round. So I'll continue working a double crochet in the tops of each of these stitches. I got my first one, I'm going to yarn over, go into the top of that second stitch and make sure I go under the tail as well. I'll yarn over and drop a loop under the tail and out of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to finish my double crochet. And another one into this third stitch from the row below, yarn over, insert into that stitch under both legs of it and under the tail, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've worked a double crochet in the top of each of those 3 double crochets from the round below. Now into this first corner space, I'm going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, and that will form the new corner of this next round. And again, I'm going to keep working around my tail so that I don't have to weave that in later. That is optional. If you would rather weave in your ends manually later, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the chain space of that corner and under the tail. Yarn over and drop a loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's my first double crochet in the corner. I'm going to work another one, yarn over, insert into the chain space and under the tail, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, and work 2 more double crochets still in that same corner chain space. Yarn over, insert my hook under the chain space and under the tail, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and another final double crochet into this corner chain space, yarn over, into the chain space and under my tail, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'll work this side of my square. I'm going to work a double crochet in the top of each of the stitches from the row below. So I'll yarn over and go into the top of this first stitch here, under both legs of that and under the tail, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and the second stitch, yarn over, insert under the stitch and the tail, drop a loop, and finish my double crochet. And one more on this side of the square, yarn over, insert under the stitch and the tail, drop a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's each of the stitches from the row below on this side of my square now has a stitch in the top of it. Now we've reached another corner. We're going to work another one of those same corner units that we did before. 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, all into that same chain space in the corner. So yarn over, insert in the chain space and under the tail, drop a loop, and finish my double crochet. And another one, my yarn's getting tangled. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to work 2 more double crochet into that same chain space. 1, and there's 2, and I'm still going under my tail this whole time, so it's getting shorter and shorter as I work over it. Now I'm going to work a double crochet in the top of each of these 3 stitches along the third side of my square. So under the stitch and the tail, double crochet, and then a second one, and my tail's getting really short. And at this point I can just stop working over the tail. I'm just going to hold that to the back and keep it out of the way, because at this point it's so short that it's really getting in the way more than it's helping things. And that teeny tiny little bit of tail can just get snipped off in the end. So one more double crochet into this side of my square. And now I've stopped working over the tail, so it's going to stick out on the back side a little bit, but that's okay. I can just come back and snip that later. Now I've reached another corner, so I'll work another corner unit, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all into that chain space. So there's 1 double crochet, and 2, chain 2, and 2 more double crochet into that corner. 1 and 2. Now we'll work a double crochet in the top of each of the 3 stitches across this side. Double crochet there, and in the next stitch there, and 1 more in the last stitch there. And now we're back to the beginning corner chain space. Now we started out this row in the middle of this chain space, and we worked essentially 2 double crochets. The first one was really a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, and then we worked an actual double crochet into this chain space. So we've already got like half of that corner unit. So we're just going to work the other half now. We're going to work 2 double crochets into that corner chain space. And then again, we could do a chain 2 and a slip stitch to join, but the half double crochet method is going to put our hook attached to the middle of the chain space instead of the left hand end. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook where that stitch marker is under both legs of the chain stitch. And it can be a little bit difficult, it's a little tight because it's a chain stitch and not the top of a double crochet. Draw up a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I will yarn over and draw through all 3 loops at the same time to create my half double crochet, and that makes that final chain space of my square. And now I can remove my stitch marker. Rounds 3 and 4 of this square are the same as round 2. You'll just have more double crochets to work into as you go across each side of the square. So let's work round 3 together. I'm going to start out with this chain space. I'm going to start with a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. I'm going to add my stitch marker back to the top of that chain 3. I'm going to work a double crochet into that same chain space. Now I'll work a double crochet into each stitch across this side of the square. The first one is the top of that chain 3, which is the same place that we stuck that half double crochet. So right there. Oh, I split the plies. There we go. Nope, still split them. Let's try that again. Yarn over, insert my hook right there, pull all of the plies through, there we go, and finish my double crochet. A double crochet into each stitch all the way across this side of the square. Now I've reached the next corner here, so I'm going to work another one of those corner units, 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets into that chain space. Chain 2, 2 double crochets. Now a double crochet into each stitch across this side of the square. And I've reached my next corner chain space. So another 2 double crochets. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into that chain space. Double crochet in each stitch across the side of the square. Reached another corner chain space, so we'll do 2 more double crochets into that chain space, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into that chain space. We'll work a double crochet into each stitch across the 4th side of our square. And now we've come back to that final chain space. I'm going to complete the corner unit that I started at the beginning of this round by working 2 double crochets into that chain space. And then I'm going to join to the top of the original chain 3 here with a half double crochet. Stitch marker out of the way. There we go. All 3 loops. There we go. And if we wanted to work a round 4, it would be the exact same. We'd start with a chain 3 and a double crochet in that chain space, double crochet in each stitch across the edge, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into this corner space, double crochet in each stitch across this side, and etc., etc., and then join with a half double crochet when you get back to the beginning. So if we look at this here, we started our first round 1 with 3 double crochets on each side of our square. On row 2, that turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets because we put a double crochet in each of the 3 stitches from the row below, plus we had 2 double crochets on each side of the corners for this square as well. So we made that 7 on row 2. On row 3, we added 2 more in each corner to each side of the square. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double crochets across the side of the square on row 3. So if we were to work around 4, we would go, let's see, 3, 7, 11, 15. So we're adding 4 stitches to each side of the square with each successive round. And when we've finished with round 4, we're just going to cut the end of our yarn and draw through that last remaining loop on our hook to finish off our solid granny square. I hope you found this helpful.